In the bottom right, folks, in the blue, he has had, what, 10 maps, 11 maps to his name at this point in the tournament already. He is the former world champion, Reynor. Almost got it. And his opponent in the upper left, in the red, in this highly touted matchup. The best Protoss player in Europe and, well, arguably one of the best Protoss players in the world. It is MaxPax. Sorry, maybe not arguably one of the best players in the world. That's indisputable. But arguably the number 2 Protoss player in the world. If we take a look at Oliveira, for example, Oliveira is going to say, yeah, it's Hero, then it's MaxPax. Hero number 3 in the world, MaxPax at number 6. And then no one else, no other Protoss is in the top 10. I was hoping Classic might make a run at Katowice. I mean, I didn't give him a lot of credit at all going into Katowice, but he had a good run. And you're like, okay, maybe. You know, maybe he's going to be able to make something happen because he is looking good. And then he kind of falls victim to the Terran group. But I am happy to find that Oliveira, between his WTL runs thus far and his Katowice run, he is actually finally cracking the Illegal top 10. He didn't do it after he won Katowice, but if you mouse over him, he's like over 200 Glico score. Plus 300 TVT Glico score. Like, of course, Katowice has happened, so it's a big tournament. But man, Illegal rankings are going crazy. People moving all over the place. And whoever thought we'd have this much instability in a 13-year-old game? When what, the newest, the hottest product is Trigger, and Trigger didn't qualify for Katowice? I mean, hopefully next year. I think he's got a very good shot. Given the fact that Neve is at school, Scarlet is maybe not looking as strong as she previously has. I think we've got a pretty decent opportunity that Trigger might get enough points just from the regional tournament to qualify himself to Katowice, at least to the round of 36. Which would be fun, because hopefully next year I'm casting Katowice as well. We know Cyril's going to be there. I mean, assumedly. We know Roddy's going to be there, so it'd be kind of fun if the entire Basilisk crew all got invited out. Here we go. Reynor, he's doing the thing again. And I like what he's doing here. So notice he shepherds the drone with a couple lings. You might say, yeah, it's 2 lings, right? That's not going to kill an adept. But what it does do is it forces the adept to A, take a lot of damage, or B, to deal with the lings instead of the drone. And in fact, by leading with the lings, it means that the adept, unless it's manually targeted, won't get the drone. Because, and I bring this up because this is how Showtime killed Reynor game 1 of their series at IEM Katowice. Reynor was going for he went for this kind of build, and instead, well, Showtime got an adept across the map in time. The drone was killed. Reynor took his natural as his third, and, well, eventually, it was a dead Zerg. So in this case, Reynor's adapting a little bit. Just adding those couple lings early. Their job is just to be meat shields. But for now, Reynor's going to get away with that one. Now he's going to knock the rocks down, which means any sort of pressure coming out from MaxPax is going to be delayed. It is interesting, of course, that we're seeing MaxPax go for actually 6 glaives, so this is going to be fun. This is the all-in version of this build, folks, and it is... well, it's a good time. We're going to have to see whether Reynor is prepared for it. Now, when I was talking to him leading up to Katowice, he was telling me that he thought we might see more glaive play, but he wasn't totally sure because MaxPax is the Protoss player that plays glaives in Europe. And really, just in general. And if MaxPax was not going to be at Katowice, then okay, maybe not. We did see some glaives, not nearly as much as we might otherwise have seen. But we did see some. We saw, ooh, Observer PC. A little bit of lag there. Come on, WTL. Anyways, glaives done in 10 seconds as the adepts are going to move forward. Roaches are on the way. Now, Reynor was talking to me about how he had a different way of handling the glaive adept type of idea, and I'm not really seeing it right now. This is a 41 drones, lings and queens into roaches, spores and mineral lines. Like, this is very standard as to how you're going to defend a glaive adept type of play. So I'm curious to see where, I guess he's just not going to go for like the different timing in this type of game, because really all that matters is that he stays alive through this. Because again, this is 6 glaives. This is not MaxPax trying to find something and being a little bit defensive, expanding afterwards. No, this is a 2-base Protoss as the adepts are going to run forward, but there are queens here, there are roaches. It's not going to be all that successful, but more adepts are going to warp in, and now the queens, they got to retreat. In fact, The roaches are off creep a little bit, but they will be in position where they need to be. It looks like Lings, for the most part, have been taken out. And now MaxPax is attacking from multiple fronts. Or he will be soon, because we have Adepts in the third base here, and they're going to run right on by. Actually, they're going to complete that shade. A worker will fall, but also pay attention, of course, to what is happening in the main base. We're going to see it in a second. There we go. There comes the Warp Prism. But unfortunately for MaxPax, you can only put 4 Adepts in one of these Warp Prisms, so it's not a mass unload that you might otherwise like to see, and that does mean that MaxPax, well, he doesn't get much done in the main base. Reynor's handling this very well to start things out. The Adepts on the left side are getting nothing. The Adepts in the main base are getting nothing. And MaxPax, now he's got a transition, but this is 6k glaives off of 2 bases. He has to get something done, or MaxPax is just going to fall too far behind in this game. Reynor's just going to really pull ahead. So for now, double Adept in the main, but folks, again, hey, this is a very low Adept here that should go down. Yeah, MaxPax has to pick it up. But there are roaches there. There are Lings there. Queen's in position. We got Spores on the edge of creep too. And the third base is going to get denied. So Reynor, now that he has withstood this pressure, which honestly didn't even really feel like much of anything. Now, I feel like a lot of Zergs would fall victim to this, but this is Reynor. The 6k glaives didn't really feel like much of anything, but even still, Reynor holds on. He doesn't take he takes very little damage. He's actually going to be going melee and ranged, I think. I saw double Evo chambers there, which is kind of fun. Oh, never mind. That's the Roach Warren. So +1 ranged on the way. Adept's now going to try to shade into the third base where there is really not a lot of defense, just 4 queens. Transfuses have already been spent. That's a lot of roaches at the third base here. Seems like Reynor, for the moment, is not quite splitting his units as he needs to, and now the roaches are going to arrive. Queens are starting to fall some way, but actually the transfuses are going to be good, so the queens aren't even really going down. 8 drones have fallen, but folks, that is a lot of Adepts hitting the deck, and the question then becomes whether it's worth it. 9 Adepts for 8 drones and a queen, 4 Lings. Is that worth it? I'm not sure. I don't think so. We know Reynor's just going to drone up like mad behind this now that he has killed a significant amount of the product. Not all of it, certainly, and you know, we do move on, but he's killed enough of the Protoss army to be maybe a little bit safe, feel a little bit happy going into things. He's going to scout the fact that there is a Forge on the way. He's going to see Stalkers warp in. He's going to see Twilight Council, I think, researching Blink. Disruptor drop is going to get nothing done. Yeah, a couple Lings will fall. I don't know if that was truly last-second splits or not from Reynor, because we only saw it as it went out, but still nice splits coming in from the Italian Stallion. And now here comes the pressure in earnest. This is why Reynor went for this build. By having 2 gases for the price of 1, you mine more minerals, which means you get more roaches, which means you can run across the map, and it also means that your creep is very far forward. So Reynor's push coming in. His disruptors are going to try to snipe some queens. They get 1. They're going to get 2. Very, very nice there coming in from MaxPax. This pressure coming in from Reynor right now is kind of terrifying. He's up 30 army supply. Now Stalkers are getting warped in. Blink is going to be done soon enough, but 31 Banelings are on the way. And while this is not the most horrifying version of this push, we've seen it hit much stronger. Even still, it is not an easy situation for MaxPax to go to defend, but he's establishing a really nice position on the high ground. But, well, you know what? He's got to defend in multiple positions here. As Banelings will come crashing into just about everything. Disruptor shot doesn't even really land. And Adepts, they will find their way into the third base. That's fine, but there are so many roaches in the main base, and the natural of MaxPax, that is really what he's got to deal with. But, you know, MaxPax, he's actually in a fairly good position to defend this. Disruptors at the front, they're not really handling anything, but they are delaying Reynor a little bit. Doesn't matter, though. MaxPax will tap out, but honestly, I think that was still doable. In the bottom left, folks, in the blue, he's up 1 game in this series, and honestly, it did not look hard at all. For Kaizi Gaming, the former world champion, he is Reynor. And his opponent in the upper right in the red, looking to equalize, folks. Put your hands together for the one, the only, MaxPax. Oh, we're taking a long time on this one. Okay. Scarlet, I am live. What are you talking about? Look. Hi. Big scam. Not a scam at all. And you know what? You say I'm scamming you with the stream title. At least I'm not doing what I don't know if you ever look at like the front pages of front page of Twitch and you see what the like the top streamers are doing with their titles is like live big news reveal, big drama, you know, just all the random buzzwords. It's like what does this accomplish? What does this really get you? That's just nothing. Well, I guess it gets you viewers maybe. So as we get into this game and try to figure out what's going to happen, the Dota Major is coming up in Lima. I know Scarlet, your team, is one of the favorites to, you know, like top 4 at least. It's a shame because that group of players always do so well domestically, and then they, yeah, 3rd place curse, 2nd place curse. But anyways, and they just announced the talent, and it's kind of funny because you have like the top tier talent there. They're yes, your team, Shopify Rebellion. We all know Scarlet. You play StarCraft here at Katowice, but secretly you were practicing to stand in for Abed. Actually, no, you're trying to stand in for Arteezy. That's right. You play 1. Makes sense. Understandable. But anyways, so they go and they announce their talent, and they're probably their 2 highest tier casting duos, because Dota is much more of a duo-based casting setup rather than kind of how StarCraft, where we just kind of play round robin and, you know, ring around, or play, I don't know, carousel with our casters. But anyways, their 2 biggest casting duos are only covering the group stage remotely, and you know they didn't have their biggest host didn't do any of the online, any of the circuit going into it. She's only doing the major, and it's funny because it feels like Dota is like the only pro scene where if you get better, you actually get less gigs. At least recently, over the last couple years, the Adepts are going to shade into the 3rd base, get a Ling, get a drone, but they're going to have to back out. Or are they? Only 2 Lings here, man. There's more. Yeah. Cancel that one. Yeah, for the most part, you know, if you're at Rotterdam or Euratosis, I would argue, Scarlet, that Shiver is at least the highest profile. She's the best. She's the most experienced. She's the best host. Maybe Capitalist holds a candle to that, but he is more of a caster that hosts rather than kind of a pure host. Anyway, Reynor across the map here. He's got a couple Lings, and I don't know how much he's going to find out, really, but... Well, actually, he is going to see the timing. So, for now, Reynor has not seen the main base whatsoever, but he sees when Warp Gate is done. He's going to know that it's probably a little bit late, and I'm assuming he saw the timing that Warp Gate got started, so... This should tell him, okay, you know what, Oracles across the map. We're going to have, Adepts across the map. We're going to have an Oracle as well. And this is kind of fun, right? So first of all, Pulsar Beam gets turned down early. That means that these Oracles are not going to be quite as powerful as they might otherwise be. But the Lings are on the other side, and 4 Adepts into the natural. It's a weird timing cut, but it absolutely is going to check out here. 2 Workers are going to go down. We're probably going to see the Spore maybe forced to cancel, and the Adepts are going to shade out. But what this is also meant is that the Queens are, well, there's only 1 Queen in the 3rd base, so MaxPax is going to find a little bit more damage. 5 Workers go down, Adepts in the main base as well, and, well, Reynor's been greedy. He's tried to get as few army units as possible, and what this now means is 11 drones have died. That is significant damage, and folks, this has been Reynor's weakness, like the entire time, the last 3 months or so. That was how Showtime beat him in the big brain bouts. That was how Showtime beat him in game 1. That's how Showtime got a lead in game number 2 of their series at Katowice. He just, for whatever, I don't know whether it's even just being too greedy, not being super comfortable in the early game, but that seems to be his big weakness against Protoss. And this is even after he was telling me that he, you know, put some work into it, and certainly is better, but MaxPax just hit with a really weird timing. You know, he runs in with 4 Adepts at like 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Normally, like, you go with 2 and you have Oracle somewhere else, but... yeah, Oracles are everyone's weakness. That is fair, Scarlet. And I appreciate you saying that, Uacalypse, but I would argue that I'm not the best host. That is Kalaris on desk by far. And Smix is a damn good stage host. Hey, no Anpine. Oracles dive in. They're going to get another worker. I think was that an egg? I think. No, they just got another worker. So what is this? 14 dead drones early on in the game, and that's a great way to put yourself in a fantastic position to go and have a nice, good mid game if you're MaxPax. And remember, folks, while we give Reynor absolutely the benefit of the doubt here. Now, the man can come back from anything. MaxPax is not one of those players where you're going to say, well, okay, you know what? Reynor's down. Like, he's taking damage, but who really cares? Because he's just so much better. MaxPax, per Legalac, is the number 6 player in the world, the number 2 Protoss. And even if you don't believe a Legalac, I mean, he is very good. Wow. What a pithy... What an incredible casterism. The caster is saying that the player that's playing the game that has the lead is very good. But no, the most important thing is he can execute on this ground pounding style that he's going for here. So Reynor's getting he's getting a infestation event. I can't imagine this is going to be for Swarm Host play. It's so late, just going to be for a quicker hive. But the Stalkers on the right side, well, Reynor doesn't have +1. He doesn't have a lot of army here because he's going for a run by on the other side. So these Stalkers have to be very careful. Force fields are nice. It's going to segment off some of the Lings. And Reynor just seems destined to have to give this 4th base away. The Lings now have to run home. Reynor loses a base. And on top of the damage that MaxPax got done early, he's getting more done. The 4th base is dead. It's a 3-base Protoss versus a 3-base Zerg. And yeah, that's a very quick hive. Against a Blink Stalker charge lot. Oh, he's going for quick lurkers. Okay. Oracle Arena. Who's the strongest Zerg at the moment? I would argue that based on Katowice results, we would say Ragnarok, right? Because he hit top 4. But I would argue that it is Reynor. Reynor did not lose a series in the group stage. He looked very good until, he eventually ran into the world champion who was on, just on another level. Not employed. The games were played earlier, but I am live. So, halfway through. And Dark is going to military. But, so I don't think he's got a shot at it. In fact, he was a little disappointing. He did not play well in the playoffs at Katowice this year. Wacalypse, I think by degrees that of the casters I have Morty's got a Masters, but I think technically, ooh, nice bile there on the stasis. Is MaxPax on the high ground, trying to deny this 4th base once again. There's going to be another stasis going down, and this time the Roach's Ravagers are not in position, but there's a flank coming in, and Reynor, you got to lead with the Ling there. Oh, he does. He catches everything, and now the Stalkers, they got to run away. They're off creep now, sure, but the Oracles, they don't have any energy, and this is a massive surround coming on in from Reynor. He's going to get so many Stalkers here, and yeah, eventually MaxPax gets out. He runs away, but that's not good. All the momentum that MaxPax had is just kind of in the gutter now. You think Dark can play another year, Sasha? When I was talking to him in the player hotel after, talking to Solar, who was talking to Dark and kind of explaining things to us, because unfortunately I don't speak Korean. He was saying that he thought that Dark was going to be playing again in 18 months, as in he had to go to military. Him and Jean both, but it seemed like Dark was pretty confident he was going to have to go to military and not be able to play this coming year. Anyways, Zealots forced Reynor onto the left side, but again, that big flank, the big surround that Reynor had, it got 7, 8, 9 Stalkers, and it forced MaxPax back, so he has no get out of jail free card anymore. He's no recall, and this pressure that he's been trying to put on, well, it's been put on hold. And lurkers are on the way, folks. Yes, oracles are actually what you want against lurkers. You want that consistent revelation that can't get sniped down by queens or hydras or something. But even still, it's Blink Stalkers against oracles. That's not the greatest play. And the Lings now, they're going to get a massive surround on the Zealots and the Archons. And yes, technically Zealots and Archons are good against this, but let's be real, folks. That is too many Lings. So now the Stalker's trying to find a little bit more, but there are just so many lurkers here that that's not going to work out well at all. Reynor's got a run by on the 5th base, of MaxPax. And this game that has been looking so good for MaxPax at the start of it, he gets 14 workers, he kills the 4th base. Well, it's looking a little dicey now, and adrenal glands are just about done, so these Lings are about to get much feistier as the game goes on. And here comes the lurkers on the other side, and folks, the Robo's just now getting added in. There will be no disruptors here. It's just, you need something. So MaxPax has built more oracles. That's going to have to be his opportunity, his hope, his dream, because there's not a lot of anti-air. That is a flimsy dream indeed. As here comes the oracles. Revelation on top of things. They're going to kill. Yeah, there we go. They're going to kill the lurkers. But again, MaxPax loses significant economy on the north side. He loses his 5th base. He loses the probes that are trying to long distance mine from the 5th base. And these Zealots, they're going to arrive, but Speedlings are fast, folks. You can run away. Seems though that Reynor is not quite. Yeah, he's just going to have to cancel this. So the the sixth base coming out of Reynor is going to be denied for the moment. And that's kind of one of the fun things about Ancient Cistern. Yeah, it's a big map as these Lings, well, actually, they're going to try to take a fight, but it's not going to work out. This is one of the fun things about Ancient Cistern, where you can go and you have these 5 bases. Okay, fine. But taking a 6th base is hard. The most takeable one that you have is kind of that forward base, but even then, that's not great. And you got to get creep around it first, and that's always kind of hard because the Protoss is going to be pushing on your 5th. So it's pretty nice, right? Where, yeah, you get 5 bases somewhat easily, but getting that 6th is very difficult indeed. So pressure on the right side. There are Oracles. There are Zealots. I mean, that's always going to be rather nice. But on the left side, Archons and Charge Lots and the Lurkers are not there. So this is the damage potential that MaxPax is looking for. But he's got to be so careful. In fact, he's not being careful enough. He's losing so many Stalkers. These +2 Cracklings are just doing such a good thing. They're knocking down so much of the army on the ground. So yeah, MaxPax, you had potential on the left side, but I guess Lurkers returned there. And on the right side, you lost everything. Exactly. This is the real picture of MaxPax seen on CL. But yeah, it was Dark that went and got a letter at Katowice saying, hey, you got to go to military when you get home. But it's always hard to tell for people where apparently with that letter and that type of letter, it's not a direct summons. It's a, be on the lookout. You're going to get your summons soon. And sometimes you can take a while. So it's not totally clear. But again, Dark seemed fairly convinced that we were saying, oh, we're going to see the next tournament. He was like, no, 18 months. Anyways, Reynor on the left side, bunch of Lurkers, bunch of Roaches, bunch of Lings. Zealots try to run into the Meat Grinder, but I mean, they're tanky. They're not quite tanky enough. And on the Stalkers on the high ground, somehow the Lurkers actually don't hit anything. I guess they lost vision. This is a hard siege coming in from Reynor on the north side. And again, we don't have the composition that MaxPax wants. No storms, which are, again, not the best things against Lurkers, but, there's something. We don't have any disruptors. We don't have any air toss whatsoever. It really is going to have to be all on these Oracles. And the Oracles are doing a great job on the left side. But folks, Oracles are limited in energy. And yeah, the left side gets cleaned up. These 4 Lurkers, the Lings, the Hydras, they are shredding the right side. So MaxPax trades 1 base for another. And now he's on the other side of the map. Reynor, only 169 supply. Now, MaxPax's army, he's got +3. It is a pretty powerful one so long as it's able to stay mobile. But this is not the entirety of his army, and it's getting a little bit spooky. We do have more Archons on the way, and these 6 Oracles have been doing such a great job of keeping MaxPax in this game. There's a difference between keeping MaxPax in the game and putting himself in a winning position, because he really hasn't found much damage recently. The Stalkers cannot fight Lurkers directly. I can't believe how much damage these Oracles are getting done. Like, it is insane. So more and more Oracles are on the way, but big surround their Stalkers. They missed their blink. So these all the Stalkers on the front side, they're just dead. And now look at the supply. MaxPax is playing Ring Around the Rosie. He's been trying to do it for so long, but unfortunately, all carousels, all rings, they come to an end, and that's going to be the case here. MaxPax, he tried to hold on for a long time, but Reynor is just better at this point. He was justifiably confident about his CVP going to Katowice, about how he did not lose games on ladder, how he was feeling really good. He had some fancy new timings, and it is showing us absolutely in this tournament, in this series. Reynor is looking dominant, and yeah, it seems like MaxPax is somewhat holding on for the moment, but then the next round of Lurkers arrive. This should be another dead base. The Zealots are going to kill Reynor's 6th, but MaxPax is going down to 3 bases, and that is something that matters a whole hell of a lot more. As the Zealots try to run forward, Oracles get on top of the Lurkers, and, well, actually, MaxPax is going to be able to clean this up. There's not enough buffer for the Lurkers. So maybe I'm speaking a little bit too soon. Oracle Reno isn't the worker count. Oh, that's big there. +3 Lings, +3 Cracklings are going to find their way right on through. But the Warping actually seems like it's going to be enough, so Oracles, Lings will be denied. Oracle Reno, isn't the worker count quite low on Reynor? 77? That's actually fairly nice. If we look at what Reynor has here, he's on 5 bases, 6 bases on the way, and meanwhile MaxPax will finally lose this base. Morphing Archon in as well. MaxPax's army, I don't know that I've given it enough credit here, to be totally honest. Charge Lot Immortal Archon, as long as we're not looking at like 20 Lurkers, is absolutely something that can break through what Reynor has. So one last ditch effort coming in from MaxPax. He's going to have to take the perfect fight, and for now, well, that looks dubious. So now here we go. Reynor gives up this base. That's fine. He's got a couple Hydras being made, but those should get canceled as well. And he's got a flank set up, right? A bunch of lings on the right side, and he's going to just look for full-on 360 surround oracles. Well, they're getting morphed. They're not here just yet. MaxPax has to continue to push. His economy is in shambles. As again, now the lings, they're going to force shield battery overcharge. That's one less tool that MaxPax has in store for him here. Is now MaxPax, well, actually, the lurkers are not in the best position, so MaxPax tries to find his way in the natural, but that is Hotel California. You can only enter one way. It can never leave, and now trying to get on top of these lurkers. How much anti-air is here? That's the real big question. It seems like the oracles, they're now starting to fall, and the concave is very, very nice. Plenty of oracles. Well, actually, only 2 of them remain at this point. Plenty of lurkers. No, MaxPax is pushing. No, he's pushing through. He needs more charge loss, though. He needs more stuff on the ground. He's got 1 oracle. He's got 2 immortals. He's got an archon. He's morphing more. More hydras on the way, but this game is getting dangerously close. But, well, here's the thing. The archons are getting low. The immortals are getting low, and Reynor holds on. The death push from MaxPax is not successful. And Reynor, 2-0. He gets to play in the next series. In the bottom right, folks, excuse me, upper right in the blue, he is for Kaizi Gaming, the former world champion, the man who just kind of kills Terrans. Folks, it's Reynor. And the bottom left in the red, the maestro of mech, the man who is probably directly targeted by the patch more than anyone else. It's Gumiho. And well, altitude is not the best map for mech. Oh, wow. Gumiho is very blurry. Gumiho looks like what, I don't know, what an AI would, like an early, not even like current AI, but like what like Mid-Journey would give you if you asked for a impressionist pro gamer or something. Give me a portrait of a pro gamer for like Mid-Journey from 6 months ago. And that's what we got from Gumiho right here. It's like the impression of a face. But actually, that's not even fair because he only has 2 eyes. You know, we're not seeing like 7 fingers on the left hand. It's going to be a double gas opener from Gumiho here in this game number 1. And that tells us tech, of course. That means that, well, we're going to see a factory on the way, obviously. But this can lead into, you know, heavier star. This can lead into one of several things, right? You know, heavy starport pressure. This actually might even just mean battle cruisers coming in early. Regardless, Gumiho is going into early tech in this game, and that kind of makes sense because you're not super worried about just needing a bunch of units early. You're not worried about Reynor going for some big all-in. A, because he's Reynor, and B, because this is just a massive, massive map. And it's always funny because we're on altitude, right? Altitude was banned by both teams going into this series, which does mean that they will play on it once when the map is defined. Because, of course, map number 1 of any best of 2 in WTL is just defined by the tournament organizers. And then game 2 is, of course, loser pick. So from this circumstance, well, we're playing on the map that no one wanted to play on, but there we go, 3cc on the way. But I'm just curious to see what Gumiho is going to do with this bounty of early gas. You know, it's going to be probably something out of the starport. And Mandragoran, thank you so much for the follow. Glad you're here. This is the penultimate WTL series until we play WTL Summer. Winner of this series moves on to face PSISTORM. And PSISTORM is, well, they've won 2 seasons in a row now. They've won 3 total. They've been second place in another. They got third place in another one. DPG has been the kings of the WTL for quite a while now. As Reynor did, of course, go for Overlord speed. Just wants to make sure he's not falling victim to something super crazy coming out of Gumiho. And for now, well, he's not going to see much. I mean, he sees 1-1-1. He's going to see double gas in the main, none in the natural. And those are important things to see. He's going to count how much gas is there as well. And he's going to see that there is, yes, a tech lab on the starport, so likely Banshee's coming out of here. But what he wants to make sure of, and it seems like he will be... Ooh, okay. It seems like he will be confident of this, is the fact that Gumiho's not going for a fusion core. You know, this is not going to be battlecruiser play. But Gumiho's fainting this out, it looks like. He's building it well. Sometimes you build a Viking first into Banshees just to clear out in the Overlords and deny that scouting. So it will be a Viking first. We're going to have to see whether he cancels this cloak or not. Oh, this is going to be vulnerable queen, though. KDA charge does not bounce it in the proper direction. And now Gumiho's just going to have to back himself up. And there we go. Okay, yeah, Banshees are on the way. And Cloak, well, if it's going to get canceled, it's going to get canceled super late. So, well, Cloak Banshees. Nothing too crazy coming out of... well, there we go. But it is going to be mech coming out from Gumiho here. And, well, we see the gases getting taken. Additional gases on the natural. And realistically... The general heuristic you're looking at as the Zerg is, okay, well, our double gas is on the natural taken before 4:30, or at 4:30. And Gumiho's about 15 seconds late. But, mind games. He's been able to scout out a little bit. He's been able to run some... It's not the end of the world, and especially if it catches Reynor just a little bit more off guard. That's going to be good news. And folks, it seems like it will catch Reynor off guard. Reynor's thinking this might be a Hellbat timing, well... Not going to say a 2-1-1, but that is a decently timed Bailey nest. He's building off a bunch of more lings. And, well, he's going to get a scout of the extra factories. So he's going to know that, yes, this is mech now. He's going to see that, yes, this is Banshee play and Cloak Banshees, in fact. So the Banshee swing in shouldn't get that much done. Oh, okay. This is fun. This was buffed, okay? Hyperflight Rotors was buffed by about, like, was it 50 seconds on the build time? And still, Terran players are saying, no, this is horrible. Don't do it. But Gumiho is going to go try to put the lie to that truth. As he's going to go and going Hyperflight Rotors. Yeah, sure, mag field accelerators as well, because, well, Battle Mech is the dominant style of mech that we're seeing on the new patch. It's actually just, it's a lot of pressure. And Zerg players have been somewhat vocal, if you talk to the right ones, about how it seems like this is very hard to deal with. Certainly Steadfast has been very vocal about how this is hard to deal with. And while I'm not accusing him of being a top-tier pro, he's decent at the game. Don't let him hear you say that, though. That's unfortunate. It seems like whoever's like the WTL stream PC is tabbed out. So they're now down to 20 FPS. Ugh. But anyways, the Hellions on the left side as Banshees try to run in. And, well, Hyperflight Rotors is still not done. It's a long upgrade, folks. It takes forever. And one Banshee's going to go down pretty much right here. This dodge, the Hellions diving on the left side. Only Lings and Banelings to defend. And there we go. Mutas are, in fact, on the way coming in from Reynor. But, well, Reynor against Battle Mech, or Mutas against Battle Mech, I don't know how I feel about it. You know, Mutas were not the best against Battle Mech even before the change. Effectively, one lock-on was one dead Banshee. You'd have a lot of Cyclones. They could run away out past the Mutas. It wasn't all that great, as the Hellions will finally get dealt with here. And now Magfield Accelerator means every lock-on just does plus 10 damage to everything. So it felt bad enough for the battle, or for the Muta player before that, and now it's, I don't know, probably even maybe just a little bit worse. But of course, Reynor has always been a big lover of mutiling Bane against mech. Yes. He was the reason, well, I don't know if he was the reason, but he was a reason that Banelings got nerfed against mech units. Said Yezu, we do not have a bracket command because these games were played this morning. I'm casting live, but the games were played this morning. As thank you, Observer, for tapping back into the game so we enjoy nice 60 FPS and not 10. Actually, technically, it goes down to 20. And that actually is, I have a bug report in on that, or ESL has a bug report in on that. That I reported maybe a year ago at this point. That didn't used to be the case. StarCraft did not used to artificially limit your FPS when the game was not in focus. As this is a big push coming in from Gumiho on the right side. As the Mutas, they're going to fly in, and yes, there are no missile turrets. So that's annoying, right? This is going to be decent economic damage that Gumiho is going to take, but he's going to cancel a base, going to kill a base in the exchange. In fact, it seems like he's going to get two because the Banshees on the left side, they found another. And this is now a 3-base Zerg. So yeah, Gumiho is taking economic damage, but Cyclones are going to lock on. And, well, again, one lock on, one kill. The Mutas are not nearly getting the damage they would want. I mean, yes, 11 SCVs is something. But, folks, remember here, Gumiho just killed 2 bases. No. It's a thing, external punch, because it's something I'm annoyed with, too. Like, I want to be able to tab out and just, like, check brackets or things if I'm in-game, but there's no way to prevent the FPS from going down. There's big lock-ons here, and a bunch of queens will go down. The base is killed. I don't think it was canceled. And Reynor's now just kind of on the ropes. This multi-prong, this speed Banshee Cyclone idea, well, Gumiho's massively ahead at this point. He only lost 11 SCVs. He can rebuild those fairly quickly, 3 at a time, 4 at a time once this planetary is done. He's got his 1-1 on the ground complete. He's not even going to really commit onto late game or commit onto heavy max just yet. Big lock-ons on so many mutas, and that's a bunch of them going down, which again, means this base is free. And, well, Reynor's going to have to cancel it once again. And what did the mutas get? 11 workers, like 1 cyclone. It's just really not worth it. So now we're going to see overlords go down, a bunch of banelings morphing in on the left side as Reynor tries to get a flank getting set up here, but I don't even know how much is actually going to matter. The army at the front, the first half of the flank is just not getting much of anything done. So the cyclones, they will continue forward. This is going to be another dead base, and this death push of battle mech is just getting so much damage done here. The flank hasn't found anything. The lings run into hellbats. That's dead. The base is going to fall. Drones are going to get roasty toasted. And, well, here come more cyclones across the map. Reynor, I was talking about how I didn't really like cyclones versus, or mutas versus cyclones, because, again, of what we're just seeing right here. Cyclones going to run away from the mutas, maintain their lock-ons. Mutas, 1 lock-on is a dead muta. And it's just, there's not a really good way to go chase this down and kill it. Right out 88. Ladder is already sucking because people are doing battle mech. And Dark Licht, thank you so much for the follow. So now Reynor's in a desperate spot. You know, he's got these mutas, but he's only on 3 bases even still. He's down 20 army supply. He's down 13 workers. And normally we would see a mech player start to transition into heavy mech now, tanks and Thors and all that, but why? This battle mech is just effectively won the game for Gumiho already. So now the Banelings are going to run forward, but Cyclones can honestly tank that one as they just pace away from the mutas, kite away. Mutas are actually doing a much better job than they have any right to, and Ling's on the surround, so this is a dream fight for Reynor here. He's going to knock down all the Cyclones. The muta's still alive at the top of things. I think that was a Baneling nest that just went down. The Banshees, for the most part, will be able to escape, and now Cyclones on the lock onto the retreat. They get 2 more mutas. Hellions, Hellbats, and the Natural. It's more economic damage, and even in a dream, Reynor still can't escape this nightmare. Also, big shout out to my brother Preston if you're watching, but he just got the got himself to a final interview at a job he's been trying to get for a while, and they just asked him for what his t-shirt size is, and I would argue that is a fairly good sign that you're probably going to get the job. I don't know. Anyways, Banshee's actually going to get found out by mutas on the right side. One of them will go down, but we're going to have to see if anything more happens to that as the Banshees get a little more economic damage done. Is the time the Banshees done in this game? Maybe. Did they absolutely prove it worth it, or prove their value in this game? Yeah, 100%. They killed 2 bases. They got a Baneling nest. They got economic damage done. The Banshee's still here, and it's cloaked up. The Overseer's just not where it needs to be. So more drones continue to fall, and the Banshee's so fast that, yes, technically mutas can kind of chase it down, but you got to make sure you're paying attention to it. Very easy for a Banshee to just dodge where things are. So these Banshees, even if they are, you know, not quite as fast as mutas are. I could have sworn that Hyperflight Rotors made Banshees faster than mutas, but I'm incorrect as that, well, Banshee will fall victim to a spore. Regardless, that's another 18 dead drones, and 18 drones that Reynor cannot afford to lose. As now, okay, so the Hellbat warfare, the Hellbat run by is not going to get all that much done. But remember, folks, transformation servos are not done yet, so it took a little bit of a second. It's this Banshee. I want our observer to click on the Banshee because it's got to have so many kills as now. Well, mutas just can't fight this again. Lock-ons from the Cyclones are just far, far too numerous. And the hilarious thing is, by the way, I mean, we're almost at 3-3 on the mech, but what's the important unit in this army? It's the Cyclones. Their attack doesn't really matter. The armor's nice, of course. It keeps them alive, but yeah, it's a bit dicey. I see someone in chat saying that, oh, you know, is Mutiling Bane the answer to battle mech? It seems like Reynor's stabilized. Reynor's not stabilized. Reynor is very dead in this game. He's, lock-ons on the mutas. He's cut away from them. He dropped the scan. Mutas cannot win this fight whatsoever. And just look at him get shredded. Yeah, the mutas are going to chase things a little bit more now, but Reynor's at 100 supply. Another set of lock-ons coming in from the Cyclones. More mutas will fall, and meanwhile, Reynor's losing his natural. He's losing his third base. He wins the battle. He certainly does not win the war. And Gumiho, or in the upper right, folks, in the blue, he's down a game in this series. Let's see if he can at least kill his opponent as well. Folks, for Kaizi Gaming, give it up. It's Reynor. And at the bottom left, in the red, up one game with a battle mech build that really Reynor struggled with. Folks, for PSISTORM Gaming, the master of mech, Gumiho. What is it with Twitch chat and like trying to get people to take their shirts off? Like, for the longest time, Marathi had people in his community that were working really hard to try to make sure he would take his shirt off. I have people in my community that at every opportunity were trying to get me to do a hot tub stream, to take my shirt off, to do whatever. Loco had it. I mean, everyone seems to have it. And I'm a StarCraft streamer. You know, I'm not even, I mean, my face isn't even visible 95% of the time. So I don't know. Oh no. Twitch chat's infected you too. No hand pie. We're ruined. So this was a pool first coming out of Reynor in this game. And then while low ground expand, it's not a Reaper expand, it's just Marines. And this is actually can be a decent situation for Reynor. He seems destined to at least cancel the command center. What did he get? 2 Marines? Yeah, so we got 2 Marines, which is not ideal for Reynor. Ideally, it's 1 into reactor, but he's going to get 3 Marines actually. So, you know, this is actually a little bit more holdable as long as the micro is good. So 1 Ling gets microed backward, and STVs are actually going to get pulled. And folks, remember, STVs are much better than they once were, and the micro from Gumiho is fantastic. Not a single STV has gone down. The Lings get nothing, and the command center will get to continue to build. So Gumiho, he went for a greedier build against the early pool from Reynor, and then gets nothing done. But okay, round 2 of the aggression. Roachborn goes down at 20. It's going to be a 19 drone Ling or Roach Ravager type of timing. Send 5 Ravager. Well, was it 3 Ravagers across the map? You force Gumiho back into his main base. And Gumiho, you know, he's not going to have Cyclones for a while. He's not going to have tanks. He's not going to have Liberators. He's not going to have these units that really defend that well. I did say that external punch, and then I technically did one. I put up a green screen and put a hot tub behind me. But I'm pretty sure that Basilisk would not be super happy with me doing a hot tub stream. And it's also like, well, it's a little warmer right now, but when I hit partner, it was like negative Fahrenheit. And I did not want to get that set up. Stillings go for another run by, but they don't really get much done. And that's the big scout right there. Hellions find the Roaches up, moving on to the other side. And remember, folks, Ancient Cistern is a big map. It's rather, not only is it long, it is girthy. And that means that, well, it's 36, it's, you know, 36 sections across. It's not the longest, but yeah, again, it's still fairly long. And that should buy time. So we already have tanks on the way. We have Liberators on the way. Marines at the front. No bunker. But with the tank and a Liberator all kind of set up, there are only so many Ravagers you can afford. Reynor, he's only on 1 gas. He's on 2 bases. And he is droning up. Well, yeah, he's droning up behind this. But again, the Ravager count's not going to be enough to really one-shot a tank. Not going to be enough to one-shot a Ravager. And that means that just eventually here, we're going to see Gumiho's going to hold on to this. In fact, I don't even like Reynor committing to this too hard. He's not going to. Loses an Overlord. He finds himself supply blocked. And while Reynor looked very good in our first series against MaxPax, this seems like a Reynor that's a little bit more out of sorts. A little more discombobulated. That's a nice bile, though. He canceled the supply depot. Kills the SCV as well. Right, Renato Pepin? I mean, Gumiho looks like I don't know, like a Windows 2000, like a 2000 era video game NPC. He looks like you'd see like Lara Croft or something, where they just use super low res textures and bulk mod. It looks like a sim. I don't know. I'm struggling for the proper metaphor here because, and really it's just his webcam is not focused on him, but it, you know, it does look very funny. As Gumiho's moving on the map with tanks, just 2 tanks to snipe a creep tumor, a couple drones. I guess this is like an immortal drop, kind of. Is he gonna snipe the queen? Well, maybe. Well, no. Okay, runs away. Queen gets very low though, and this is fun. And yeah, Gumiho, I like what chat's saying. Gumiho is absolutely kind of trying to mind game Reynor a little bit here. You know, he's dropping with tanks all over the place. We know he has 2 tanks early. It's got to be mech, Reynor says. Clearly it's mech. Gumiho looked powerful in game 1 with it. Why would he do anything different? But no, 5 more barracks on the way. This is a bio Gumiho, not a mech one. And now he's running across the map already. His stim is not done yet, but this is, what is that, 4 tanks? Does he snipe? I love this tank drop play, but this is 3 tanks, a bunch of Marines. And this is a difficult... Reynor is a Roach Ravager player, and he's equal on army supply with what Gumiho has. And now the biles are not going to land. You'd like a second medevac, maybe, if you are Gumiho, to really make this work. But there are 2 Liberators on the map, I think. There are 3 tanks. Gumiho can set up a pretty powerful hard push. But yeah, something is really off. It looks like a Deus Ex NPC, like a GoldenEye NPC or something. But for now, Gumiho is slowing down a little bit. He does have his 3rd base. It's on location, turning it into an orbital right now. He's got 1-1 on the way. Stim just about done. I don't know if we're going to see him do too much before combat shields complete, right? Because combat shields are 20% of your army's HP. I mean, you do want that, even if this is what would realistically have been a pretty nice time at coming in from Gumiho. But folks, the number 1 rule, if you are playing against a Roach player, is you don't move out with your tanks. You can pressure with bio all you want, but if you lose the tanks, you lose the game. So I understand Gumiho being a little bit reticent, you know, keeping all of his tanks at home here, moving out with his Marines, taking advantage maybe of the stim timing, the 1-1 timing eventually. But this is giving Reynor time to get back into this game. And that is somewhat important. So this Overseer is going to eventually get targeted down. Reynor, there we go. Gumiho gets that. Reynor, though, not supply blocked as the Liberator finds its way into the main base. And there's a lot of roaches, but Gumiho, well, is going to move command a little bit. Biles are not going to do all that much. Liberator doesn't really get much done either. And now Gumiho does have to respect this army from Reynor. The supplies are starting to climb. But here's the thing. Reynor, he's got 4 bases, but the big deal, he's at 77 workers. This roach count, while powerful, while scary enough, is not really, it's not an all-in situation. Now the roaches are going to try to get on top of this, but the tanks are blowing them sky high. They kill 1 tank. They're going to get a 2nd. Are they going to get a 3rd? It seems likely, but these are costly trades coming in from Reynor, even if he gets these 3 tanks down. And yes, that buys him so much time, but you got to worry about the flank here, because here comes in Gumiho. Biles don't really seem destined to land all that well. He splits against him. Now we're going to see some Ravager get tapped down, and those Ravager cost as much as a Muta. They're expensive. And Reynor, while he got 3 tanks, he lost a lot of his army right there. And that does give Gumiho a little bit more of an opportunity and ability to get on the map. But the interesting thing, of course, folks, is this is a Reynor that is almost immediately transitioning. His +1 attack is done right now, but he's already got +2 on the way. We have Infestors on the way. Baneling Nest speed eventually Hive. That was not a Reynor that was going pell-mell. 200 supply Roach Max. Well, you're going to have to see if he's going to be able to hold on to this push, because here comes Gumiho. 1 queen's going to go down, 2nd one as well on this 1-1 timing. Gumiho with the fish cosplay. Oh, man, poor Gumiho. Like, he's playing so well. He took Reynor to task in game 1. He's in a pretty good position here in this game number 2. And all everyone's talking about is like, not as good play, but wow, he looks funny as his webcam. They'll stim up the ramp here. They're going to find a bunch of roaches. And well, Gumiho scans behind the army. He wants to see if there's any sort of follow-up. Folks, there's not. So the roaches have to run away. This is going to be a dead base. Baneling's now morph in, but Baneling's speed is not done. So yeah, Banelings are nice, but Slow Banes against tanks. I mean, good luck. And now Ultra Cavern on the way. We do want to see Adrenal as well. By far the most, arguably the most important, the most impactful late game upgrade. It gives Lings an additional +3 attack. That's kind of what it maths out to. It's just, again, by far the most important late game upgrade. But, well, Reynor does not quite have the money for it right now. I mean, he technically can afford it, but he needs to spend that gas elsewhere for more Banes, more Lings, things like that. As Gumiho continues to push in, you know, Reynor's not supply blocked. Liberators find some level of value, but not a ton. But the push from Gumiho continues. And the scary thing about this economy that Reynor has, because it is going like gangbusters. 90, no, or it was 97 briefly, but 91 drones. Problem is, if Gumiho gets a hard push going and Reynor only is allowed to take one fight, the army supplies are going to be pretty disastrous. It's going to be 30 army supply up for Gumiho's. Reynor comes in from multiple angles here, but he doesn't have a flank on the backside where the tanks are, so the Banelings, they run forward. Marines, they're splitting backs. The Fungals are actually not all that great, and the Bio tries to find its way into a corner, runs past the minerals, and the Banelings, they start to connect, but it's really not going to be enough. And, well, the Marines now, they got a stim on forward. Roaches and Ravagers trying to get on top of these tanks, but they're not super successful, and Gumiho takes a masterful fight. Yes, supplies are in the Zerg's favor, but remember, this is a 30 worker lead, and a lot of the supply is in Roaches and Ravagers, which are not all that supply efficient. So Gumiho punches in on the right side. That's another dead base. And folks, it seems like at this point, this is going to be a game where Reynor goes down 2-0, and Gumiho avenges his comrade in MaxPax. And both teams, well, we're going to go into set 3 with both teams sitting at 3 points apiece. Unless something changes. But for right now, MaxPax, excuse me, not MaxPax, Reynor, his economy, he's got a lot of workers. But he's really only on 4. No, he does have those that 5th and 6th hatch done. I don't know if he's mining. Well, it looks like he's mining from the 5th at the very least. This hard push coming in from Gumiho right now, it's pretty scary. He's at 2-2, 3-3. Of course, it's a ways out. He's adding Marauders in now because he has the money for that one. And, well, Reynor's going to have to hit a big surround. So here he comes. Ultras are on the right side. Infestors through the middle. Blinding Clouds and a couple forward tanks. But there's just still so many. The splits, the tank line is so nice for Gumiho right now. And the Fungals, well, they're going to do something. Lings and Banes and Ultras, they come in from the bottom side. And that's going to have to be Reynor's attempt for the tanks. Well, they shred the Ultras on the right side here because, well, even if these Ultras do have chitinous, which they do, it's only +2 armor. And the tanks, they will take them to task. So more Ultras fall. And Gumiho has not been shoved away from this position. The Queen's going to go down. +2 attack is going to be, yeah, it's going to get tapped down very quickly here. So Reynor's stuck on units that maybe are tanky, but they don't do much damage. And now Reynor looking for a bit of a counterattack. Once again, looking for those reinforcements. He's not going to find them. Not that easily. And this push continues from Gumiho. So again, Reynor moves in from every side. Lings on the bottom right side trying to get on top of these tanks. Lings from the front side as well. No Fungals just yet. In fact, there we go. That's center mass Fungal, but it's as the fight ends. I do love the Blinding Cloud Fungal, though. That is actually pretty awesome. It just means the Bio cannot fight all that easily, but now it's just Ultras here off creep. And yes, Concussive Shells does not affect them, but the Ultras, they will still get targeted down here with extreme prejudice. That's going to be another one. It's going to take a lot of damage before it makes contact. That's just going to be a dead Ultra Gumiho kiting backwards, playing like the embodiment of Heart of the Swarm Terran. Push, 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 push. Don't let the Ultras touch you. But it seems like Ultras will start to touch the army of Gumiho here, and it seems like Gumiho, at least for the moment, is starting to get broken back. The tank count is done. The Ultras are doing a good job, and a lot of this Bio is very, very red. So now we got to take stock. We got to sit back and kind of pay attention to where we are right now. Reynor is on 91 workers still. He's on, well, he lost his natural, but he's on 5 hatch even still. He does not have upgrades. He's on 112. Have a good night there, no hand pie. I can't believe Reynor held there. It was just by drips and drabs. He wore Gumiho down enough that he kept stimming, and then his army was just low enough. But even still, Gumiho is on 5 bases now. He's, you know, it's funny. My gut says, wow, Reynor lost a lot of bases. He's got to be behind. And I guess the big deal here is Reynor has very little gas. He's got 800 a minute coming in, which is, what is that, like? That's like 5 gas or something. and he doesn't really have any in the bank. So even if Reynor had a bunch of minerals, he's kind of hurting on gas efficiency, and gas is what is the most important part of a Zerg late game. Gumiho will get the base on the right side. And Reynor, yeah, he's on like 4 gas. Like, that is not where you want to be if you're a Zerg, especially on 88 drones. Like, you want the gas count to start to increase. You want to be able to afford those infestors and banelings and corruptors, as it seems like the late game is going to go into here, maybe into a broodlord transition later on. But you need the gas. And Reynor needs to fix that. And it seems like he has done that in part, taking a couple more gas geysers and started to mine from them. And now Gumiho's going to Ghost as well, as Reynor now moves forward. Great parasitic bomb on top of a lot of these medevacs. It takes Gumiho a second to split them off. But still, that's like 80% damage done to most of them, or 80% health remaining for most of these medevacs, so not really going to be the end of the world. And now Gumiho pushes in once again, but Reynor is maxed out now. He's going to try to get on top of this stuff. He doesn't have upgrades. That's the problem. It's 1-1-2. Yes, with Adrenal. Yes, with Chitinous. But even still. This is 3-3 bio here. The upgrade differential is just so important. And the main lings, they can't make contact. And even if they do, they don't kill things all that quickly anymore. Lings don't do much of anything. And on the right side, there's an SCV with this medevac group, because why the hell not? But it's just cost effectiveness over and over again. Gumiho out trading what Reynor has. I'd love to see the resources lost chart. But anyways, here comes Reynor once again. Tanks on the low ground, tanks on the high ground. And again, the split on these tanks is so massive that, yeah, you kill 1 or 2, but then you have to find yourself up the ramp. There are more tanks firing away. That fungal is going to be fantastic. But so many of the ultras are going to go down as the ultra on the right side continues to fall. And Reynor has to back up again. He's not whole-handedly breaking this position that Gumiho wants to find. And now that means Gumiho again is going to get the natural of Reynor. Oh, it really has Lutherism. The small ultra buff and sniper runaway nerf. I would argue it's the sniper runaway nerf that's the big one, in that it allows Zerg to take fights in the mid game or in the middle of the map and not commit the entire way, which is massively discouraged turtling, which is fantastic. So snipes are going to go down, but that's not going to find all that much, as now ghosts are going to get saved. But of course, you never count Reynor out in the late game. Eventually, he's going to get these upgrades. +3 Carapace is going to go down, as there we go. Snipes on the ultras. Good scan. But eventually, he's going to have 2-1-3. You know, he's going to have +3 melee attack. The problem is, though, is this army that Reynor has made. So we can see him kind of tilting his head a little bit. He knows this is not a great spot. This army that Reynor has made is an army that does not scale. Ultras are decent in the early mid game, but once Liberators come out in mass, once most importantly Ghosts start to come out in mass, it becomes much more difficult. The Ultras, they just don't do all that well. I mean, there's a reason we have an Ultra, or we have a Lultra emote. Generally, it's Ultras that's in transition into something else, or Ultras because you're massively ahead, not because you're behind. Banelings, they try to find their way up the ramp. No blinding clouds just yet, but the tanks will go down as the Ghosts in the back line. Well, they just need to retreat back themselves back to a point where they can start to snipe things down. That's going to be a dead Ultra, second dead Ultra here. And the front line of bio, they give their lives to the cause. Gumiho, again, he holds this fight off. It seems like there was maybe an EMP that I didn't see, as the Viper really didn't do much of anything. Gumiho pushes forward. Lings get a good surround, and that's something. In fact, these Ultras seem destined to die. But remember, folks, Ghosts, they two-shot Lings. They are tanky boys indeed, especially with the lack of Ling upgrades. They're shredding. I mean, as the Ultra arrives, it's a little bit scarier, and Gumiho's going to have to pick up and run away. But just because you've surrounded a bunch of Lings with your Ghosts does not mean you're going to win this fight whatsoever. There's no Ghosts get dropped down. Lings have to run out. And look at the banks right now. Yeah, Gumiho doesn't have a lot of gas. He's only on 250. He's been buying a lot. He's got, personal cloaking on the way, +2 mech, Marauders, Ghosts, everything else. His mineral count is doing very well for himself, and he snipes down another Ultra. Very well done. Gumiho has the money to rebuild this army. Reynor, despite being on 81 workers, doesn't really seem to be in the similar situation. This medevac will fall. But the push coming from Gumiho right now, it should knock this base down. There are no banelings here, and they're getting morphed. But again, Reynor, we've been talking about this for a while. He is really hurting on the gas count. Significantly hurting on the gas count. The one random SCV is going to slowly try to kill this base. Don't know that it's going to be successful. Snipes go down on the Ultras, but they are able to escape for the most part. The Ghosts wedge themselves into a corner. There's no way the army of Reynor is going to find it. And Gumiho 2-0s Reynor. In the upper left, folks, in the blue, the reigning world champion from Kaizi Gaming, the master. This man, by the way, has not lost a TVT since before Katowice, just so we're clear. He is Oliveira. And in the bottom right, in the red, for PSISTORM Gaming, he took down Reynor 2-0, and that is already a massive feat, folks. Give it up. It's Gumiho. And yes, Warnell, it is Cajun-style red beans and rice. And it smells delicious. No, Doom Cookie. If we're talking about the warm-up the fans on stage thing, I was sent out. So, by the way, for folks that don't know what I'm talking about, because if you watched Katowice online, it didn't show up, and for good reason. The fans were a little quiet on day 2, so I was asked late on Saturday night. Hey, Zeratul, you're gonna have to tell me whether my roommates are making red beans and rice properly. But anyway, so they said, hey, go up between series and get the crowd hyped up for the next series. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do that. And they send me out for 6 minutes on stage, so I'm not in the crowd. I can't talk to the crowd all that much. With nothing to give out. I can't throw t-shirts to the crowd. I can't do anything there. And they just say, fill 6 minutes, but don't be the host. That's Smix, All right, that's me telling myself that, but I don't want to try to fill Smix's role. Just go out on stage for 6 minutes. Fill some time. Get the crowd excited. And I'm like, I can do a minute of that. I can say, yeah, we're going to crap here and... We're going to clap here. And on the right side, when Reynor comes in, just get a rhythmic clap. And when Oliveira comes in, we're going to give a rhythmic clap, But that's like a minute. Let's get some practice, That's like a minute. That's not 6 minutes. And as kind of someone told me afterwards, as a great, ooh, a bit of Reaper shenanigans coming on, but not much done. As someone told me afterwards, yeah, and I like the phrasing. Yeah, Bayo, you got sent to war without a gun there. And I don't mind being on stage. I like being on stage is fine. I just had nothing. I had very little prep. We weren't totally sure of what the objectives were, and 6 minutes is far too long to just fill by yourself on stage. With nothing. I'm not a stand-up comedian. I do best when I have things to talk about. As the Reaper in the main base here, nice repair there coming in from Oliveira. Keeps that starport building. Oh, that was very fancy indeed. The Reaper tried to delay the starport a little bit, unsuccessful. That was fancy. But I'm glad you didn't think it was all that bad, Doom Cookie. I walked off that and I'm like, we're not doing that again. I can produce content for Basilisk. I got some interviews I gotta do. We're not doing that one again. It was bad. But anyways, I'm glad you didn't hate it, as the Reapers are going to show up in the natural. Of course, 3-shotting SCVs is a nice KDA charge there. It means that there's no way that the SCV escapes. But where do we go here? Of course, the Ravens have been massively buffed in the early game. They build faster, they're cheaper. But, in the late game, again, lack of corvid reactors. Auto turrets don't last as long. They don't have as much HP. They're just not nearly as powerful. So when I saw the changes, I was looking at it and I'm like, well, do we really call this a rework? It doesn't really feel like one. The Raven's still the Raven. It still fills the same role. It's just numbers that have been tweaked. But the more we see how it gets played, it does really feel like a rework after all. Nice splits there coming in from Oliveira. Yes, he will lose his Reapers, but he gets a Hellion. That is kind of more than you expect to happen. He gets an SCV, gets a Hellion, gets a Scout. And those are all very nice things. But folks, we're on Gressfon. And now, by the way, it has been 3 Raven opener that has become very popular in this matchup because, again, Ravens are cheaper on gas. You can afford 3 for the price of 2. And, well, auto turrets are not nearly as powerful as they once were. Anti-armor missile, same idea. You can disable 50% more tanks. than you could with two Ravens, and that's pretty valuable. Just a tiny bit. So now we move into the mid game, and one of the things that I was looking at going into Katowice was going to be whether, obviously it's not happening here, but it felt like with the Cyclone change, mech might be a little more viable in TVT. Obviously it's not going to happen, but Gumiho, he's going to have to withstand this pressure from Oliveira coming in. Now the tanks get a really nice position, so the third base just has to lift. Marines, they stim in, but that's not going to be all that useful. And the good news, if you are Gumiho, is these Marines do not have upgrades. They do not have stim. They're not going to be able to kill this orbital all that quickly, but these are 3 Ravens here, folks, and these are 3 tanks that can get disabled. So tanks are going to start to move forward. That's going to be a dead SCV or 2. Of course, the downside of this push that Oliveira has gone for, the fact that what he's committed to as the bio is going to try to stim in, but the tanks are sieging up just in time, and all Gumiho really accomplishes is making sure that the tanks have to siege up once again, but he does do a good job of unsieging the tank that he has that was going to get disabled. So from that perspective, he's fine. SCVs are going to get pulled to try to kill these auto turrets, and yes, the auto turrets have been nerfed. They last a little bit less long. They have far less HP. They have less armor. You still don't want to pull and yes, SCVs fight better. You still don't want to pull SCVs to defend it. It's just not good. It will kill a lot of SCVs if you decide to do that one. So this push from Oliveira continues, and now he is not committing with the next round of his units. It would have been very easy for him to just start to rally across, but no, he's keeping his army at home. And this is actually really important here, because here comes Gumiho, but the tanks are going to siege up in time. Auto turrets get dropped, and they're just going to buy a little bit of time here for the 3 tanks to do what they can. Vikings going to arrive. The Ravens, now they drop another auto turret, and here comes Gumiho's other army. So yes, the tanks will die, but that was a lot of Marines to fall. Big deal, though. 1-1 is done for Gumiho. He's got stim. I believe he has combat shields. His Marines are miles. They're furlongs. They are other large units, parsecs, light years ahead of what the Marines of Oliveira has. So this position from Gumiho is pretty scary, but well, we're going to see the forward tank get disabled. Vikings in the sky knocking down medevacs, and the tanks from Oliveira are standing strong for right now. The last second auto turrets, they're not great, not nearly as good as they once were, but they're doing enough. They buy just enough time, and Oliveira, he gets 4 medevacs. He denies all the healing. He denies a lot of the mobility that Gumiho may be looking for in a game like this, but Gumiho's going to try to push forward once again. SCVs are just getting pulled to buffer here. Vikings have to land. Ravens, they don't have any energy. In fact, 2 of them are going to get targeted down, but enough time has been bought. Now the Liberators, they rule the skies. Tanks have to run away. And Gumiho is going to have to content himself with the damage that he got, because it seems difficult for him to break his opponent at this point. By the way, folks, Gumiho had a very quick 1-1, very quick stim, very quick combat shields. There's no armory. It's getting started right now. In fact, based on armory timings, it seems like Oliveira, despite effectively having his 1-1 started by the time Gumiho's was done, it seems like we may have a Gumiho that is, or an Oliveira that is getting into his 2-2 faster, which is just crazy. Now with these Liberators that were just unlocked on the map a little bit, denying the third base. Marines are going to get this one in the main. Okay, Liberator only gets 1 Marine. But SCVs aren't allowed to mine out of the third base. That's going to be obnoxious. And Oliveira now has started to stabilize himself. Hey, Alaros. Thanks so much for that. Is this your first? Yeah, 6 months. Thank you so much. This drop is just thinking about things. I do appreciate all the hugs, by the way. All the pause hugs. That reminds me, by the way, I got a story that I found out just today. But it's not fit for Twitch. I'll tell it in my Discord after this. Don't let me forget. Anyways, for now, 2-2 on the way for Oliveira. It's actually going to be a little bit faster than what Gumiho is going for. And this is very interesting. I almost got to imagine that this is a mistake. You know, it's got to be, because it's not like Vikings are on the way. Gumiho is going for armor. He's getting mech armor, and that is just not what you want. Well, he's adding Vikings now, so this might be a play for air dominance. I don't know. I mean, this is just... When you're going single armor, you just almost always want your tanks to be that little bit better, because the key timing there is plus two tanks. Plus 2 tanks, they one-shot Stim Marines regardless of the upgrade situation. And they one-shot Marines that are anti-armor missile, I believe. Actually, is that true? Maybe not. Anyways, they certainly do one-shot Stim Marines. And that is well, it's not a situation you want to find yourself in if you're a Terran stimming on top of plus 2 tanks. So committing for this armor upgrade, yes, it will allow Gumiho to kind of wrest control of the skies. And yeah, armor applies to flying units and ground units in equal measure, but I think the utility of tanks hitting plus 2 eventually is going to kind of outstrip that. G'day, Emperor Fubel. The entire series, the entire Kaizi Onside series yesterday, Alaros, was incredible. Not going to spoil it any more than that, but you should just watch the entire series. It's a long one. It's like I haven't edited it yet, but I think the recorded VOD is like 2 hours long, 2.5 hours long. Yeah, Alaros, we were talking about that earlier. Gumiho kind of looks like a sim. He looks like a Deus Ex NPC or something. Now Gumiho stims forward here. Tanks at +1 though, and that doesn't really, it's not a big number, but it does make a difference. And now the Bio stim forward. Almost all the tanks have been disabled, but the Marines, they're running through a choke. Doesn't matter, not at all. The tanks now from Gumiho fall down. Gumiho got nothing here, and Oliveira smashes this push. It's done, it's dusted in an instant, and there is just... That didn't work out well for Gumiho whatsoever, but he's got a next round of the push. So Bio on the right side. Vikings are going to land, and now Oliveira, he went for a bit of a counterattack. He said, I smashed your army. Now it's time for me to get some damage done. Now it means he's just going to lose so many SCVs. He might even lose this third base. The counterattack is important. How much can he get done on the other side? 21 SCVs have gone down, but now there's only one tank here. That was a lot of tanks that Gumiho did lose. And again, it's +1 armor, yeah, but look how fast things die to +1 Stim Marines. Oh no, Oliveira, he's on siege though. Gumiho's gonna try to jump on top of this big surround coming in from every side. Tanks now have to siege up. Vikings gonna land on top of them, but the Marines, they're holding strong. The tanks are now starting to fall, but 21 SCVs have died on the other side. Tank count for Oliveira has fallen as well. And it's funny how, well, Oliveira, not in the best spot. You know, he is down 30 army supply. It's kind of funny how everything is, you know, history may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. 21 dead workers on either side. Oliveira a little bit better economically. But now Gumiho running, steamrolling onto the other side of the map. Oliveira tries to clear these tanks at the front. He's going to get both of them. And that makes this push much more difficult. 3-3 on the way for Oliveira as well, and Gumiho has not started that one. Bio stims down the ramp. He realized that these Marines are so overstimmed, there's just not enough healing. Tanks are going to siege up and watch things blow up. The problem is the Marines, a lot of them have gone down. We have to see these Liberators fall. One will go down, but this is the benefit of armor. Marines do not kill nearly as quickly. That one Liberator is looking dominant in the sky. And that's something. But Gumiho is up 20 workers. He has a 4th base. His economy is just doing so much better at this point. And here it goes. Now Oliveira forward once again gets the Liberator. Gets on top of this single tank. Finally, eventually. Hey, armor upgrades. Means it maybe gets an extra shot off. But even still. These Marines of Oliveira are about to be so much better than what Gumiho has. It's not like Gumiho can really afford it. But these Marines are just about to be so significantly better. And there we go. Okay. And the bottom right, folks, in the blue, excuse me, he's up 1 game in this series. He's the defending world champion. He hasn't lost a TVT in weeks now. It's Oliveira. Oliveira. And in the upper left, in the red, he had some great TVTs at Katowice, and this new patch unlocks all his tricks. For PSISTORM Gaming, folks, Gumiho. Jason 1, these games, I am casting them live. Hi, hello. I can even wave at you. Hi. But no, these games were played approximately 12 hours ago. Something like that. Look at this. We talked about Gumiho, the patch kind of unlocking a lot of his builds. There's less of a focus on this Barracks Double Gas Factory expand every single game. Well, I mean, Oliveira's doing it this game, but we're seeing more Reaper expands, more proxies. Gumiho's going for a Mark Schloppy idea. Barracks at home, Barracks on the road. Build Reapers out of both and try to catch your opponent off guard with just a couple more Reapers than they might otherwise be expecting. Yeah, you know, you're pretty right, Lutherism. Oliveira looks like the villain of a 90s movie. Yeah, like the villain of or like the intro villain of a James Bond movie or something. Or like a YA, like a young adult movie, something like that. Evolve, there is no bracket command because these games were played this morning, and I don't want people accidentally spoiling themselves. Which means that if you want, it's on Wikipedia, but you're gonna have to search it out yourself. As here come the Reapers at the natural. Oliveira, his Reaper is just a bit marooned. 2 Reapers, they're gonna kill that SCV, but folks, remember, first of all, this is not a reactor expand, so it's gonna take a moment. We saw Oliveira win a game earlier where he was proxy Reaper, and he probably should not have won. Now the SV is gonna lead. Now actually great damage done on the Reaper, but you gotta double back. You cannot allow this bunker to go up. That is just going to prevent this base from ever completing. You know, Emperor Fuble, that's not a Dr. No's not a movie I've ever seen, actually. To my great chagrin, but I grew up under a rock, so that's my excuse. There's 4 Reapers now going to arrive versus 2 Reapers in a heli, and again, the natural is delayed. And by delaying this a second time here, it does now mean the 3rd Reaper is going to pop out. So 3 Reapers in a Hellion versus 4 Reapers is certainly Oliveira favored. But it means now that Gumiho, despite being the one that proxied, built a unit on the map, built multiple units on the map, in fact, built a structure on the map, he's actually going to be ahead into his naturals now. The Reapers are going to eat a juicy shot or 2 here from the Hellions. KD8 charges knocks them right on top. And that's not going to work well for Oliveira, or for Gumiho, excuse me, whatsoever. Oliveira loses Reapers. Sure, that absolutely. But he gets most of it around. And now, there's a bunker in the natural, but you can just run right on by. Hellion stays alive just barely. And now these are going to be some dead SCVs. One is going to beeline, try to find his... How'd that Marine get on the other side? Interesting. But okay, Marine's on the high ground. Marine should eventually deal with this, but this is another couple more dead SCVs. And the natural continues to be delayed. So that's a little bit awkward. The Reapers now, they run out. So Marine could have killed that Reaper, but it's not going to. And Oliveira, well, yeah, he loses the low Reaper. That's fine. Yeah, that slow zone was massive, Emperor Fuble. As the Reaper shows up in the main base, kills a Marine, will die, but it's a good scout, and it has delayed the factory just a little bit. Question, though, what comes of this push? Tank, 4 Marines. This was a push that Maru did on this. I think it was on this map, in fact. This was how Maru won. No, it wasn't on this map. This map was the map where Maru's Widowmine killed off everything. But we saw Maru go for a tank medevac, or a tank Marine medevac drop in game 1 that actually killed Oliveira, the one map that Maru did win in that series. This is not going to be quite as committed. It's not going to go into the main base, but it is doing heavy damage on the natural. It's forcing Gumiho to not mine out of the natural for a while, and that's good damage. In fact, the dream here is to make this command center start to burn, to force Gumiho to spend even more money on defending it. But even still, it's 4 Marines. They've gotten a lot of damage done. They forced the natural to lift up for a long time. And now Oliveira has his 3rd base on the way. He is putting himself, again, in a pretty good economic position, even as he is down 4 workers. The problem, of course, is the fact that, well, the natural is not mining for a while for Gumiho, so that's, again, pretty nice there for Oliveira. Big deal, though. Gumiho, he has an eBay. He's getting +1 attack. It seems like he's actually getting ready for a bit of a timing off of this. We should see Stim go down very quickly. In fact, there's the double tech lapse for that. And single eBay +1. That's an all-in from the Terran. Going to be very interesting to see how this one works out. Is now Oliveira on the other side of the map trying to kneecap this push before he gets started in earnest. He's got a couple Ravens. That's nice. He's got tanks. He's got Marines. And he's adding in Vikings behind. This has promise. This is 3 tanks. This is 3 Ravens. And there is, what is that? 1 tank sieged up in the natural. So for now, the bunker's going to get salvoed down. In fact, it's going to get salvaged, but, oh no, the tanks are going to unsiege. So now here comes Oliveira moving forward. The tanks are in fact unsieged. They cannot be sieged up and get disabled. That's how you just lose this game. So the bio, they run forward. Auto turret just to try to buffer for something. And now, okay, the tank seems to find a rather safe position. Ooh, 1 tank's going to siege up here. Auto turret's barely not going to kill it. And more tanks from Oliveira arrive. It is now 4 tanks in the natural. This orbital is about to go down. Oh man, cheeky auto turret might have been able to snipe it down, but well, the Ravens just don't have the energy for it right now. But this is a 1 base. It's effectively a 1 base Terran versus a 3 base Oliveira. So here comes the break attempt. SCV's pulled in the front. Auto turret gets dropped, and Gumiho just has to tap out. In the bottom left, folks, in the blue, he has again not lost a TVT in a damn long time. Now looking fantastic against Gumiho. For Kaizi Gaming, it is Oliveira. In the upper right, in the red, the master of odd things, and who, by the way, had his best Katowice result in a long time. It is special. So I see people asking about what the Raven changes were. The energy change was removed from the final patch, I believe, Lutherism. So these are the big Raven changes. First of all, Corvid Reactor is no longer a thing, which means that they no longer pop out on the map and are immediately effective in the late game. Number 1. Number 2, they are cheaper in gas. So for things like TVP, it means you can afford a Raven and a tank, which is actually really nice for Terran build orders in that matchup. Also, auto turrets are 1 less armor. They're like 30 less HP, and they last 4 seconds less. So that means that while they can still kill things, and they're a decent assassination unit, they're a decent worker harass unit, it doesn't take nearly as much to kill them, and B, they don't tank in the late game as they once did. They don't do that incredible amount of extra DPS in the late game, which is useful because Ravens are not supposed to be a main battle line unit. They're supposed to be a support unit that supports your army. You know, StarCraft is never good when Ravens just dominate a game state. Raven Mech, Heart of the Swarm. And then, of course, the other one is anti-armor missile is no longer -3 armor. It's now -2 armor, and it is a slightly lighter shade of yellow. Yeah, Ketrok Mech. And it was just, we're going to turtle into Mass Raven, and we're going to Hunter Seeker missile your army, or what was it, Hunter Killer missile, your army to death. There's nothing you can do. Have fun. Hope you can split. Oh, and yeah, your Corruptors can't. Your Corruptor, all Zerg anti-air can't fight the Ravens either because PDDs are a thing. Like, it was just painful. So I'm glad that we're really at this stage of StarCraft 2 right now. We're in a game state where, you know, Ravens are pretty balanced. I'm a fan of the design of the Ravens right now. Ooh, this is interesting though. We got Banshees coming out from Special. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Special has always been a fan of his Banshee play, especially in TVT. And it's one of those things where it can be useful, although the Cyclone change, I didn't see if Oliveira got one or not, but the Cyclone change does mean that, well, Cyclones are just a little bit better against it. What Cyclone change, you might ask? Well, outside of backfield, which is not super relevant here, the lock-on, the target acquisition range on Cyclones against air units was increased by 1. So it's a little bit easier for them to get their lock-ons, it's a little bit easier for them to get their damage done against things like Banshees and Phoenix and things like that. So Special, it's going to be interesting to see how much damage he gets done here. This is a lot of Hellions. Widowmine, well, that's a leading Hellion. So still there are 4 here as Raven tries to find his way into the natural. And while Special does have powerful, well, he does have powerful harassment units finding their way onto the other side of the map. Eventually, for now, first strike, first damage goes to Oliveira. The Banshee into the natural here. Do we have any sort of anti-air? We have 2 Marines and there's a Cyclone, so this shouldn't get all that much done. The Banshee dives in, bang, bang, bang. It gets 2 SCVs because Oliveira repairs everything and gets a 3rd up. What other unit could use a rework, in my opinion? I think Ghosts are in a fine spot now. I would have preferred to see them forfeit their energy if that happens, but I think Ghosts are fine. It's like, kind of like the big annoying unit. Queens and Zerg early game anti-air, and I don't think that's a super controversial statement. Where Zerg needs Queens and they need Queens in high numbers to A, do their macro, and B, spread creep, and C, be safe in the early game. You don't really have any mobile anti-air from the Zerg until layer in any way, shape, or form. So I would love to see a rework where the Queens are as hold that thought, because we got a massive drop here in the main base. Tanks are going to siege up. Auto turrets get dropped to just defend against the SCVs. And yeah, there's a Liberator, but there's a Cyclone that should be able to deal with that one there. Yeah, there we go. He gets started down. Now the tank has fallen, but that is 19-20 dead SCVs. And while the medevacs die, yeah, sure. Well, Hellions dive into the natural, and oh, friendly fire. One more. Yeah, he's finding it. One more shot, but no. Special's aware of this. Still, 23 workers hit the deck. Oliveira up double the worker count almost. And Special, he beelines across. He's building 2 Vikings at a time, getting a tank added in. What's our air superiority at? It is, yeah, so Special's doing the double starport thing, where you build 4 Vikings, you smash air control, and then you smash your opponent. That's the goal. That's the dream. And look at what he's doing here. Trying to buy some time. So forward bunker coming in from Oliveira, but this barracks, I think its job is to soak Viking shots. So Special always gets the first shot off. I think that's what the play is meant to be. Yeah, there we go. Vikings, they look for a shot. Ravens, they run forward. And Vikings of Oliveira do as well, but it's hard for Special to really find his way in. And this forward bunker is so smart. It's just another layer of stuff that, well, that Special has to fight his way through. It delays this push even more. So yeah, you know, there are tanks here that are shelling away at this bunker, and it will eventually, yeah, it's dead. It does buy time for Oliveira to get more Vikings out, for him to get more units in general out, for him to get stim done, combat shields on the way. Now Special continues to creep forward. Now he's lost his big tank. You know, that barracks is done. I think it's, yeah, it just died, or it's burning. Okay, well, it's dead in like 100 seconds. So we're gonna have to see what happens here. Auto turret gets dropped, and the tanks blow them up immediately. They're just buying time so the Vikings can land. And I don't know how much I like this coming in from Special. I mean, yeah, sure, he breaks through the first tank line, but the Vikings in the sky, well, they're standing strong. Now they're gonna land, and well, Oliveira has more of them. That tank that ties the siege up is dead. SCVs are going to get pulled just to buffer enough. And this does not work for Special in the slightest. Oliveira wins his 3rd map in a row. And that does not work out at all. In the bottom left, folks, in the blue, he is, of course, the reigning world champion. 3 maps to his name here in the semi-finals. For Kaizi Gaming, folks, give it up. It's Oliveira. Okay, I tried. Wow, that was really delayed. I don't even know why I'm trying. The upper right, folks, though. In the red. He's going for a bit of a gas first build. That's tech. That's Banshees, probably. It's Special. Now, when we talk about TVT, There used to be like 3 distinct builds that were in this. We almost called it like a circle of suck. Or a circle of counters, whatever you want to say. Where Gas First would beat Reaper Expand, would beat... No, Gas First would beat Proxy Barracks, would beat Reaper Expand, would beat Gas First. Something like that. It's been a while since I kind of thought about it. And then we had this Barracks Double Gas Factory idea show up. It's like, well, you know, it's not as greedy as a Reaper Expand. It's not quite as aggressive or attack heavy as a Gas First. It's not quite as... It's not quite as aggressive early game as a Proxy Reaper. Crawfish, remember the Mothership Core? What a unit. Yeah, I millions celebrated when the Mothership Core was removed. It was just... I'm not a big fan of hero units. You know, I'm excited to see what Stormgate's going to do with them, and I think from what we're seeing, and again, this is not official. This is just me trying to read into what they're saying. But I think we're gonna. It looks more and more like heroes are going to be a 3v3 thing, and they're not going to be in 1v1, which I'm a fan of. That's thank you, BK Rec. Am I gonna do another interview with Neuro? Maybe eventually. He's a great guy to have on. I'm gonna try to see if I can. So they have asked me, and it just unfortunately doesn't work with my schedules. Reapers are gonna show up in the main base here, get a full scout on what's happening, see the starport timing. That's always nice, and we can see because this was the Gas First. That starport is much faster for special than it is for Oliveira. Anyway. They've said, yeah, if I want to fly out, they are more than willing to show me around and let me play the game. Problem is, I'm a PhD student. And when I say they, by the way, I mean Frost Giant Studios. Problem is, I'm a PhD student and I live in New Hampshire and they're in Irvine, California. So, like, you know, I can make a weekend, but it's really hard for me to find time during a weekday, and that is just not going to happen. So, it's unfortunate. It's one of mine. There we go. Gets the Hellion, probably the most important unit when we're trying to be aggressive. And now that means Oliveira is going to be forced back out of this position. Banshee's on the way. Hey, look. I'm somewhat smart. What do I have a PhD in? Hey, White Shark. Thanks so much for the raid. There's not a release date for the Frost Giant game. If you want to see what I'm getting my PhD in, I have a chat command, research. I made a video for a proposal I did a bit ago. I'm getting my PhD in space robotics, effectively. Getting sensors into portions of the moon where we can't really get into super easily. I don't have it yet. I'm about 18 months from defending my dissertation, fingers crossed. Yes, there is no release date for Stormgate, but there is hopefully a release date for my PhD. Anyways, we got Mech coming out of special here. It's a Magfield, it's Magfield and Banshee Cloaks. That's kind of interesting. When I looked at these changes, I was thinking that, okay, maybe this might allow mech to be a little bit more viable in TBT because you can actually maybe fight the Marines with Cyclones a little bit better. But we didn't see it again. It was much more of kind of a TBZ change. Regardless, Banshee gets something, just a little, it takes a lot of damage on the way out. But yeah, anyways, talking about Stormgate because we got distracted by the game happening. Ooh, Cyclone gets a lock on. Yeah, special. Yep. Oh, there we go. Raven maintains vision. Special will lose the Banshee here, but Hyperflight Rotors. Is anyone getting deja vu? Or does this kind of feel like what we saw Gumiho do against Reynor in on game number 2? I'm doing excellent, White Shark. We're having a great series here, and hopefully it's going to be even better, and then the finals are going to be awesome too. Oh, that's super cool, Colt. I used to live in Phoenix, and they have Oh, shoot. What's the company? Anyway, there's a company there that does a lot of that. I looked at interning with them at some point. Beowulf is an IRL tech lab. I mean, fair. I do have a probe on my shelf behind me. But okay, we need to talk about this game just a little bit more because things are happening. Hyperflight Rotors is just about done. Magfield is done. Big scan there for, well, it's not even a big scan, really. Oliveira sees 3 tanks, but he doesn't know much more than that. And 3 tanks at this stage in the game is not super crazy. I'll show the probe after the game. It's not an actual StarCraft probe. It's a 3D printed ball of plastic that has some sensors in it. But anyway, Special moving out of the map to establish a little bit more map control. And Oliveira does have the read. I was too distracted by chat. I'm sorry. It does have the read on that. The fact that this is going to be next to the Banshees will arrive. That's going to be a dead tank. Hyperflight Rotors very strong, and Banshees do a lot of damage to tanks. So now Special, he is just establishing massive map control, which is crazy if you think about it. Normally it is the bio player that is able to establish map control as a Banshee will fall, but Special has stuff everywhere. He's got a pack of 5 Cyclones on the right side. And with Magfield, that is very much an army that can go and can snipe down a third base if you're not paying attention. Not as strongly as it once did, as we will see, of course, see the medevac, or excuse me, the missile turret go down, or Widowmine. Wow, I can't talk. Now that's going to be 1 dead Cyclone. Nothing goes down for Oliveira just yet. And now the question really becomes whether Oliveira can break this tank line, this mech line, before things get started in earnest, because Concussive Shells is done. Stim is done. Combat Shield's not yet there. Okay, there we go. Cyclone's finding the right on the right side, but they're going to get targeted down, at least some of them. But here come the SCVs going to get pulled from both sides. Auto turrets are going to get dropped, and that's just 5 dead SCVs, 6 dead SCVs. Special's botched this super hard, and he's not killing the units of Oliveira. Not at all. So here comes Oliveira up through the natural. This 4th base seems destined to get delayed. The Banshee is going to eventually fall. There we go. 4th base canceled. And that's going to be a delayed or a disabled tank as well. But Special did have the lockdown at the very least. SCVs are going to get pulled from the natural and the third. Please, Observer, can we see what's happening as 14 SCVs fall, 15 SCVs fall. Banshee will go down. Tanks will eventually die, I got to imagine. But no, they're not even falling here. 1 tank maybe, but Special is dead. Had in his hands, he realized that there is no way he's going back into this one. And Oliveira wins 4 maps in a row against Terran players already. And now the question, who is your revive? Who? In the bottom left, folks, in the blue, he needs to win 1 map more to get a date to forge a path to Dragon Phoenix Gaming in the finals. He is the reigning champion, Oliveira. And the upper right in the red. He's got to all kill. He's got to kill Oliveira. He's got to kill Spirit. And he's got to kill the revive. It's MaxPax. Oliveira's been eating his spinach. He's been eating his olives. And I love the name Oliveira, by the way. It's taken a while to grow on me, but if you think about it, olive trees are super resilient. They just cling to the side of cliffs. They, I mean, honestly, the land in Greece is not, it's arable, but it's, you know, it's like sandy soil. It's not the best. It's not the most fertile for the most part. Certainly not the places that olive trees tend to grow. And olive trees thrive on that rocky mountain soil. You know, hanging on just really with their own gumption. And that's kind of the story of Oliveira, if you think about it, right? You know, he didn't win a single map at Atlanta. He was going home. He's going to retire until his dad says, hey, you know, you're the best player in my heart, you know. He couldn't practice on the Chinese server for the month leading up to Katowice because the Chinese server doesn't exist right now. You know, that's just massive. I'm aware, 007 Doke, that he chose the name Oliveira because he is a Charles Oliveira fan who is who is the all-time great middleweight MMA fighter. And I'm aware that it has nothing to do with the tree. I'm saying that I like the name now because it is, because I like the parallels anyways. Like, he didn't choose it because of the olive tree, but it works out anyways. He also chose his name not only because he's a fan of Charles Oliveira, the MMA fighter, but also because he wanted to effectively, like, rebirth, form a new start. as MaxPax doing MaxPax things. Gets a Zealot early on, runs it across the map to just put some pressure on the nascent natural that Oliveira has going for himself. And, well, there's one Marine, but one Marine does not beat one Zealot. Not easily. So this natural will be delayed for just a bit. But actually, the SCVs are going to get pulled here. And, well, again, we're seeing the power of the new SCVs. Not a single worker falls. Natural's not delayed all that much. And now, well, it is 3 Marines, but 1 is low. So the math isn't quite great here to kill this Adept. In fact, an SCV does have to get pulled and will eventually go down. But Oliveira keeps his fighting force alive. He keeps the natural as a thing. He doesn't have to delay it all that long. And this is a beautiful start for Oliveira. This is so nice. Even if he's not mining out of his natural, that's fine for the moment. He can turn it into an orbital. He can make some mules happen. And now, well, Adept finds his way in the main base. That's a little bit awkward, but it's going to get canceled. And there are still 4 Marines here. They're all very low. But with the Hellion chasing behind, this is going to be a dead Adept. And MaxPax has massively overstayed his hand. One more. There we go. There we go. Jeez, not a single Marine died. Everything... Those are 2 Marines on like 1 HP. One Marine is one more shot away. The Hellion's on like 1 HP as well. Oliveira is just maximizing the units he's got at this point. But here comes more units from MaxPax. You know, he's got a Stalker. He's got an Adept now. This will kill some of these Marines. There is a tank on the way. There's a Liberator on the way. This pressure coming in from MaxPax right now has a timer on it. And it seems like he's not going to get that much done anyways. Hellion tries to chase him while the SCV is doing a great job repairing that one. Although, hell, geez, Oliveira is just different. I was talking about this in Katowice, but it seems to be even just still true. Oliveira has this game downloaded right now. He is reading the game in a way that few people are. Is that, well, that's not going to get much done. Tank gets a good shot. The game just seems to be moving in slow motion for him. And we're talking about a game when players are playing 400 or 500 actions a minute. That's kind of insane. His star sense is just out of this world right now. MaxPax is spinning up more. He's got a Warp Prism on the way. Blink just about done. How many gateways does he have? Considering the fact that there's a Warp Prism in third, no third just yet. I'm going to assume that this is 4-gate Blink coming out of MaxPax right now. And now Oliveira is going to have to hunker down. He's got a Liberator. He's got 1 tank. You got another one just about done. Oh, no, sorry. He's got 2 tanks. He's going to have a third. I don't know that MaxPax is going to get all that done here. He did not really substantially delay the economy of Oliveira all that much. Now there's a Liberator that's going to show up in MaxPax's main base. That's going to be a couple dead workers. Maybe at least 1. Stalkers have to be warped in at home. And I guess it's 3-gate, not 4, just judging by the number of Stalkers that warped in. But even still, MaxPax is going for some aggression here. He actually blinks on top of the tank, but there's another one on the high ground. And that's going to be not a couple dead Stalkers. Nice bike right there. MaxPax only loses 1, gets a tank for it. And that did not feel like a position that MaxPax could blink into. There was a tank on the high ground, there was a bunker, and he just blinks right by the bunker. He kills the tank. Gets out, loses a single Stalker. If MaxPax can continue to do that one, well, that's a pretty good deal. Okay, Stalkers blink onto the high ground here, and a Marine will fall that's not quite in tank range, and that is one of the benefits of maps that are this big for Protoss players. Because, well, you can blink into the main base, and you're just not going to be under the aegis of tanks. You're not going to be under the space control. You're not going to be in range of tanks. And that means that you can blink, wait for your blink to reset, and then start to get damage done to the man. But behind this, folks, okay, 4 Stalkers are going to drop out of the Warp Prism. Of course, 4 Stalkers is the number that one-shots SCV, so that's going to be something. And MaxPax is microing very well. He effectively has 2 blinks here, but doesn't get any of the Marauders. That's really the big goal. Behind this, though, we're on 4 gas, so it seems like it's going to be Storm, Archon's Charge, all those wonderful things as MaxPax puts himself into the mid-game against an Oliveira that, well, I don't think he has a third base. Or, sorry, I don't think Oliveira has a third base on the way. He's got +1 stim, combat shields, all finishing up at the same time. And I think this is still 3-1-1. Okay, nice scout here from MaxPax. He's going to find a double drop, and actually, as there is no concussive shells just yet, he should be able to escape. There we go. Oliveira's still got a big army moving forward here, trying to catch some of the Stalkers as they run across the map. MaxPax loses 1, loses 2, loses 3 before he blinks back, and he's only killing Marines. You want Marauders, you want Widowmines, you want tanks. you want medevacs. That's the big deal. This Liberator is not going to get that much done. It's eating a lot of shield battery energy, but it's not like there's going to be a big push through the main. So here comes Oliveira through the front of things, attempting to cut his opponent off in the pass. One tank is going to siege up here. Widowmine as well just adds a little bit more. Folks, Storm is not done for another about 20 seconds. This is the timing that Oliveira wants. He wants to get critical damage done before that upgrade is complete. In fact, there's a world where he can maybe stim and kill the pylons and delay it for forever, but that's not going to happen. And now Storm is done. 2 High Templar in the Warp Prism, but the Priestless are already very nice indeed as Zealous try to get on top of things. Storm's, I mean, where do you even Storm on this? There's just nothing to kill. High Templar Storm number 1 lands, and well, actually, I think the second one just went down. Oliveira stims right on top of everything. MaxPax committed a little bit too hard into the early game. The 1 Storm gets nothing done here. And while the tanks are still alive, MaxPax is dead. Oliveira has booked a ticket against Dragon Phoenix Gaming into the finals. Well played indeed. What was that? 5 kills, 5 map kills to his name.